I am recording this 3 hours after the Packers lost to the Vikings, 23-7. That was honestly a pathetic game on literally every side of the ball. Obviously, injuries hurt us a lot. Like if we had Bakhtiari and Jenkins out there, we would have won that game. I don't know if we would have won it, but it would have been a lot closer than it was because that offensive line was horrific today. Um, the only guy that actually did well was the rookie Zach Tom. But besides injuries, which happen to every team, there's nothing you can do about that. Uh, Pretty much every side of the ball was pathetic, and to say that the special teams was the best unit today is like really really sad. Even then, like they weren't good, but I will take serviceable compared to just absolute dog shit. They had punt returns and kickoffs that were actually, I don't even know if they had kickoffs because they just let it bounce in the end zone. But the punt returns, they're just not able to get like any decent returns out of it. I'm not really expecting much out of Amari Rodgers anyways, and they almost had their own punts blocked like twice, I think. So like it's gonna happen at some point. It's just inevitable. As for the offense, the only player that I can think of that was like actually good this game was Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon. Everyone else was just they were non-existent. The wide receivers sucked. Watson had a terrible debut. The good thing about Watson is that he did have a good route. Like we know he can get open. Catching it, like I'd rather have him drop balls than not get open. I know that sounds weird, but like he can actually work on uh, catching the balls. So it's good that he got open. It happens. He's a rookie. As for the other wide receivers, Sammy Watkins isn't enough, and there's just we really have to make a move, or we should have at least, for another wide receiver. So hopefully we can still get um, OBJ. But the running backs obviously are gonna they're gonna play a huge role this season. They're gonna have to be because the passing game is just gonna be brutal. And AJ Dillon and Aaron Jones, they were doing well. Matt LaFleur just did not give them the ball enough. I think it was the final drive. It was 4th and 1. They had time. They had 4 minutes. They were down 2 scores, but like at that point, even if the Vikings got a field goal, another field goal, the game is over. So like you have to limit them to 30 yards the next drive, which no matter what, it isn't going to take a lot of time. So like they could have taken their time on that final drive. They could have run the ball at 4th and 1, gotten the first down, and have a fresh series. But instead, Rodgers forces it to Tanyan in the end zone or into double coverage, which was ridiculous. Like they could have just run the ball there. And as for Rodgers, again, the pressure is bad. Wide receivers, I mean, Christian Watson dropped a 75-yard touchdown pass, so like he didn't play. Rodgers didn't play good. At the same time, there were opportunities there that really weren't his fault. Yeah, I mean, as for the offense, it was just a pathetic performance. But I'll take this year's week one over last year's. The defense, I literally every Packers fan, and even like the rest of the league, has really high expectations of this defense. I still think this defense will be top three, but I'm concerned after this game because I went into this game thinking that we would really shut down this team, and the biggest culprit to the defense letting up 23 points, which let me say the second half they did step up, but that's still not saying much. They let up 200 yards and 2 touchdowns to Jefferson. But again, the biggest culprit to the defense sucking this game is Joe Barry. How, like, at a certain point, when Jefferson reached his 100-yard and 1 touchdown mark, like, you would think that you need to switch up the defense and stop playing zone. But no, Barry kept playing zone. He kept putting scrubs on Jefferson. He put Preston Smith on Justin Jefferson. At some point, you have to realize that you should put your best corner, arguably the best corner in the league, on arguably the best wide receiver in the league. I don't know why that's hard to comprehend. And the 3 times he did it, it ended up in an incompletion, a PBU, and a forced OPI on Justin Jefferson. It's just mind-boggling that the coaching staff does not put Jair on Justin Jefferson. I don't like. I just don't know what's going on there, and it's really frustrating because I really think this, I really think this game could have gone a different way if Jair was actually guarding Jefferson. And I know LaFleur mentioned that motioning Jefferson over and over again was throwing him off, but like you've got to make adjustments. You can't just keep playing zone when you're getting torched like that. The pass rush was pretty much non-existent. Kenny Clark and Rashawn Gary had like one good play each. Stokes wasn't very good. He gave up a couple of big plays. I would say the only like good player today was Jair and Kenny Clark, which is disappointing. Darnell Savage continues to regress. He wasn't great last year, and I'm really starting to lose hope for him. He had like a huge, I think it was twice, he gave up huge chunks of yards to Jefferson. So I don't know I mean, he's a good free safety. I'm not saying he's a good free safety, but like for what we have, he's like the best option right now. So like obviously don't get rid of him, but he's really got to step up. But yeah, like I said, the biggest thing is that you have to make adjustments if something isn't going right. Like if something is obviously wrong if you're giving up 150 yards, and I think it was in one half. Like stop playing zone and put your best corner on their best wide receiver. I don't know why that's hard to understand. But yeah, I think at this point you just have to move on. We're playing the Bears next week, which I mean every time we play like a mediocre to bad team, there's gonna be a chance that it's a trap game. But the Bears just won against San Francisco, okay, so you can't really rule anything out. But if we don't win next week, then we're in trouble because we play the Bucs the week after, and starting 0-3 would be just not good at all. So yeah, next week's gonna be a must win. But that's really all I have to say. It was disappointing, and that shit pisses me off. Like this defense, I mean, pretty much every side of the ball has to step up. So that's all I have to say for now.